silence is created from generation to generation. From the Great Leap Forward to culture, the Great Revolution, how a society lost the ability to correct its errors. I am Li Shiwen. Hometown is in Gansu Tongwei, Kanenjinging Mountain Junction. Looking back at the Great Leap Forward, people's communes, large-scale steel smelting, famine, and later the Cultural Revolution. What I most want to ask is not how ridiculous it was back then, but why does absurdity persist? Why is it that someone knows something is wrong, but no one can correct it? Why is an era over, and the consequences carry over into the next generation? The answer is actually a very clear chain. Speech control gives true information cannot be uploaded gives. Power to gain misinformation gives. The wrong policy cannot be corrected. Errors widen gives tighten control gives. Society is more silent gives education and culture are further fractured gives. The knowledge structure and personality of a generation are changed. This generation enters the family. Schools and power systems continue to pass this mindset on to the next generation. This is the scariest place. Without true opinion, the government has no real world. What a government needs most is not applause, but true information. Where there is no food, where policies fail, where people's lives are difficult, where officials report good news, but not bad news, someone must dare to speak up. However, in a society where speech is strictly controlled, the real question will soon become, the teachers didn't dare to say, officials dare not say, experts dare not say. Ordinary people are even more afraid to say it, especially in schools and bureaucracy. If a school principal knows there is a problem with the policy, but is worried about saying the wrong thing, a county official knows that the following data is not true, but dare not report it. One expert found that the metrics simply did not make sense, but worried about being perceived as not positive. Then what ended up happening was not no opinion. Instead, everyone has opinions, but no one dares to express them. More seriously, over time, people don't even wait for others to ban themselves anymore. Rather, take the initiative to scrutinize yourself. Therefore, society is in a dreadful state. Everybody knows there's a problem, but everyone pretended that the problem did not exist. Second, it creates a vicious cycle that cannot be self-corrected. A normal society is. Policy error gives someone pointed out, gives information feedback, gives policy correction. And societies with highly restricted speech may become. Policy errors have been pointed out. Pointing out the wrong people is pressured. Others are silent gives true information is getting less and less gives. The above are more and more unaware that they are wrong gives the mistake continues to expand gives. Tighten control in order to maintain mistakes gives no one dares to say. Therefore, a closed loop is formed. The bigger the error, the stronger the control. The more control there is, the less real information there is. The less information, the more wrong the judgment. The more wrong the judgment, the greater the error. This is no ordinary policy mistake. This is a self-reinforcing error system. 3. One of the deepest wounds of the Cultural Revolution. It's pushing that error even further into education and culture. Schools are supposed to be a society's most important corrective mechanism. Children should learn there. What are the facts? What is evidence? What is logic? Why can it be questioned? Why can teachers be wrong? However, when the school itself was severely affected by the political movement, normal education and the transmission of knowledge have been disrupted. A generation loses more than just a few years of classroom time. What is lost is knowledge transfer chain. The previous generation did not fully teach the next generation. The next generation cannot be fully taught to the next generation. Civilization should have accumulated from generation to generation, but instead it broke down. And it's not just knowledge that's broken, and way of thinking. For an environment that does not allow for questioning for a long time, what kind of person will it shape? If a person knows from an early age, saying the wrong thing is risky, challenging authority is risky. It is risky to express different opinions. Standing on the wrong side is more dangerous than making mistakes. Then what he may eventually learn is not thinking, but observe the wind direction. It is not a search for facts, but a search for the correct answer. Not is this true, but is it safe to say that? This personality may have been necessary for survival in that era. But the saddest part is this. Era can come to an end, but survival habits will not disappear automatically. So parents teach their children, don't talk nonsense. Teachers regard obedience as discipline. Cadres regard understanding their intentions as their ability. Yesterday's survival experience has become today's education, the most dangerous. It is this generation that will finally enter a new system of power. An ordinary person forms a fear that only affects himself. But if a person's way of thinking is formed in this environment, later he entered schools, institutions. The nature of enterprises and even power systems has changed because personal habits can be transformed into organizational culture. Organizational culture can be transformed into management style. Management style can become institutional inertia. A person who is accustomed to obedience may cultivate more obedient people. An organization that is used to reporting good news and not bad news. You don't hear the bad news. A system that punishes dissent. More and more, only the proponents will be left. Finally, the system selects those who are best suited to it. This is called social inheritance. It's not DNA. It is knowledge, fear, personality. Intergenerational replication of behavioral patterns and power experiences. VI. So the really scary thing is not how many books a generation destroys. It's how many people's perceptions have changed. Books can be reprinted. Schools can be rebuilt. The economy can grow again. But a person's lost ability to judge. It will take years to rebuild. And here's the thing. If this generation has not completed true reflection and pass on your way of thinking to the next generation, then the fault line will not stay in the previous generation. It will continue to extend backwards. Therefore, it is formed. Education gap gives lack of knowledge gives. Personality change gives organizational replication gives. Power amplification gives the next generation continues to accept this environment. This is the most alarming historical logic, in my opinion. Therefore, what history should really leave behind is not hatred. It's institutional memory. I am from Tongwei, Gansu. My hometown experienced that era of hunger. So I feel more and more what a nation should really remember. Not just how many people went hungry that year, but why are some people starving but afraid to speak up? Why does the grassroots know the problem but can't spread the truth? Why didn't the error stop in time? Why school end? Will the knowledge system be so severely damaged? Why a generation of trauma and ways of thinking? Can it continue to influence the next generation? If these questions are not answered, history will be nothing but stories. When the answer is clear, history really becomes a lesson. A healthy society. It should not be pursued. Everyone says it right. Exactly what should be allowed? The teacher said, no. Experts say no. The official said, no. Ordinary people can also say no. Because what's really dangerous? There have never been different voices in society. The real danger is everyone can only speak the same voice. When a government hears no objection, it didn't lose face. What it loses is the ability to correct errors. And when a society loses its ability to correct mistakes, mistakes can change from a policy to a system, from a system to a culture, from a culture to a generational personality, from the personality of one generation to the next. This is the deepest and most brutal cycle in history. What it really needs to be cut off is not a slogan. It's that chain. Don't tell the truth gives no real information gives. Errors cannot be corrected gives errors continue to grow gives. People are more afraid to tell the truth. The next generation continues to learn silence. Only by daring to allow true opinions to exist freely. A society truly has the ability to recover from disasters.